Thank you for watching the Shikama Live Show with your host Shikama. The ACLU is suing various schools around the nation for being segregated. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The ACLU, the bastion of liberty and freedom, is suing people for privately association or associating or publicly associating or be they just the demographics of the area. So I wonder what they're going to do about when they go to like Wisconsin or Maine. Are they going to sue those people for having white-only schools? I don't know. But in the same exact report that I saw as a juxtaposition to the ACLU's position of schools are segregated and that's bad, we had all black schools, it's segregation based on sexism. So they are talking about women only, girls only, boy only schools, right? And they said that is terrible. Boys and girls need to be put together. The truth of the matter is we have other reports about all boy black schools being started in like the Bronx, Harlem, what have you. And here's a little bit of a lesson about statistics. They said that the 4-year graduation rate of their children who went to those all-boy black schools went from 50% in 4 years to 70% in 4 years. And they're projecting that it will approach 90% in the years to come. Now, a lot of people don't understand when people do statistics. So they'll say stuff like 50% of black kids don't graduate. No, what they mean to say is, they don't mean to say it. What they're not saying is they're talking about 4 years. They're not talking about black kids being held back a year or 2 or 3. They're not saying in 4 years 50% of black children graduate. What they're not saying is 5 years, 6 years, it's 100% or 99%, whatever it is. So here is more black statistics that are complete shams, complete lies, and black people fall for it. How stupid is that? You don't go do your research and you fly off the handle or you listen to Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and say, we need to change this, we need to change this. It's just that those black kids in 5 years have a 70% graduation rate. In 6 years, they have a 90% graduation rate. They were just held back. Or they got into trouble and they went to juvie for a year. And then they came back and got their high school degree. Nobody says that, though. They don't say that. They say, oh, the school system is discriminatory. But the reality is the statistic is wrong. So this school finally, these all black boy schools burst open on the scene and said, hey, here's the real statistic. In 4 years, black children are graduating at a 50% rate. Our school is graduating them in 4 years at a 70% rate. And probably at those schools, some kids need to be held back, but that's what needs to happen, right? They need to be held back a year, learn their lesson, and then graduate a year later. That's simply what needs to happen, or even a semester later, or what have you. Kids get held back in school. That's the reality of the United States. Kids do get held back in school. Would you prefer that they pass illiterate children, which is what you see in public schools? In the documentary about charter schools, you will see that the public schools are passing people who cannot read, and a black mother taking offense at this, not realizing, no, and don't pass judgment on the mom. She's probably overworked, underpaid, and trying to do right by her son, but she did get finally angry when the son came up and said that he could not read, and she said, how did this happen? Obviously she didn't work with his homework, but she's probably working 2 jobs. You know, we don't know her situation. She's probably working 2 jobs to keep a roof over his head, but she did go to the school board and say something needs to change here and I want some heads to roll. She did do that. And when the school board said there's nothing they could do, there's nothing that they could possibly do, she took him to the charter school, and within a week he was not only reading, but he learned computers. How about them apples? Now, so the ACLU is saying segregating children on the basis of sex is terrible and awful, and it's based on some 18th century school type of model, when in fact the psychology of it is this, and I've already talked about boys in school versus girls in school. They want to control boys. So boys, they tell them to sit down. Boys, they say, oh, it's time to read. Boys, they tell them, you're too hyper, I'm going to give you drugs, without the consent of the parent. So the ACLU is trying to promote this system that is anti-boy. And so what they want to do is destroy any system that has all girls schools, all boys schools, all girl classes, all boy classes. There are public schools in the United States where you send your child to the school and then the boys and girls divide up as soon as they walk through the door, and they go, you know, they go to the all girls section, they go to the all boys section. And this is the main focus of the ACLU. The teachers and the child psychologists are saying boys learn different, girls learn different. For boys you need activity, for boys you need visual things. It doesn't matter if realistically or technically or chemically boys and girls are almost the same on paper. In reality, they are socialized differently. And in this politically correct environment, the feminist movement is trying to say there is absolutely no difference between boys and girls, and you are being evil if you socialize your boy to be a boy or socializing your girl to be a girl. The feminists are saying that. So we have all of these behind the scenes people who in my eyes are evil, trying to get their little hooks into your children. It's all about the children now. So the feminist movement is trying to target children, and you as a parent to say you shouldn't socialize your girl to be girls and your boys to be boys, or girls in this case, as a case it would be. These all boys schools and all girls schools are saying, no, there is a difference. Whether it's through socialization or not, whether it's through parenting or not, there is a difference. So now we have to deal with an 8-year-old boy who's a boy, an 8-year-old girl who's a girl, who acts like a girl, who thinks like a girl, who socializes as a girl. Now they were trying to disparage the all-girl, the split school, the school that splits their children into boys and girls, because in that one they were following an old manual, and that manual said that boys are aggressive and boys are competitive. So take away that aggressive, not take away, but understand that that exists, and you have the boys sit side by side facing the front. The girls, you have them sit face to face, and in your learning lessons, you have the girls break up in small groups and study the lesson together and come up with ideas in a group sort of setting. And that's how girls are socialized to think and act. Boys are not socialized to think and act like that. Boys are independent. Boys are aggressive. Therefore, teach them as independent individuals. Girls you teach as groups. Boys you teach as independent thinkers. And it seems to be working in these charter schools, in these private schools, in these all-boys schools that are saying, this is how we teach boys. Apparently, the ACLU is coming for your children. what are you going to do? If you can, go to the school board or what have you and get yourself a school voucher, because you're paying taxes for schools even if you don't have children, first of all, which I think is criminal. And get yourself a school voucher to send your child to a private school or a charter school. And make sure you research the charter school or the private school first, of course, but that's what you do. And that's for black people too. There is no reason. You are paying for the school. This is what black people don't understand. You're paying for the school regardless of how poor or rich you are. You're paying for the school. You might as well send your child to a charter or a private school. Try and get a voucher. And if they refuse, sue them. Sue the school board. Sue the state. Sue them. Stop rolling over and taking it. Anyway, that's my report on the ACLU, trying to get your children to be taught as one. Thank you for watching Shikama Live Show.